So I've got a heat gun, a really weak heat gun drying out JB Weld, trying to patch some air leaking issues over here. And then over here, we got a 6-speed transmission that's gonna go in here. But before it goes in here, I'm pretty excited about this. Well, my spider gears are gonna be replaced with this. I'm really excited about this. And this is beautiful. So I have cleaned the transmission for as much as I can get with the hose, rag, and this entire can of brake cleaner, what I have left at least, which was like 80% of it. I will be performing what is a dock locker. If you're interested in how to do this, this is a super fancy machined part I had machined because I know a guy that does machining. But look up Sprocket's Garage or look in the video description and I'll put a video link to his video, which if you're on this channel you probably already know about it, but if not, pretty cool channel and it's pretty awesome thing. That's so beautiful to me. If I had a tripod on here, I would love to show you guys the opening of this, but we're gonna see it because I've tried welding this before and the weld broke, but I still used it for a long time with the weld broken. So let's see if I destroyed anything inside it. My ducks get territorial over water. I'm gonna go mess with their water and we're gonna see if they start coming after me to yell at me. So I got a little kiddie pool here. I'm gonna start splashing around in it. I'm gonna go on a limb and say water and dirt got in here. This oil was yellow the last time I was in here, and there's actually corrosion on the inside. Oh, the gears look pretty good. Oh, we got some. Oh, we do got some nicks though. On the highest failure part in my experience, the bull gear. Oh yeah, we got nicks. Yeah, you can see some mangled weld gear. Yeah, I've put miles on this after the weld broke. Kind of hoped for the best. I thought I felt a couple light clunks here and there, and I guess I did. Ripka has my new bull gear. I'd drop that thing in here. Although when I say new bull gear, it's from a 3-speed that I, you know, messed up this part on. But that's because I'm getting more hubs milled for future use. Alright, here's my old Transaxle's axle shaft, and there's my failed locker. And yes, JB Weld was key. Almost looks good on that side, and weird on that side, and that's because, you know, I used JB Weld to fill the gap, so hopefully everything would lock in place, but you know, my chop saw cuts were really far from perfect. It had wiggle room and eventually turned the thing crooked, and yeah. It won't happen again though. This one will be right. I'm about to use that to get all the old RTV off, and I guess I might get some of the rust off the inside of the axle as well. And then I'm done with that. I'm going to take some bad fuel and a rag and try getting all this metal shrapnel out. And there's chunks of metal I had to actually take out over here, so I actually can't believe the thing looks as good as it does with all the metal floating around in it. Never used a wire wheel and an angle grinder before, and now I know why they call it brushed metal. It's wire brush and aluminum. I'm going to hit the underside with that before I paint it. That is actually awesome. It made it look like it was new and never had RTV on it. By the way, I'm a safety bypass kind of guy. My safety button, my angle grinder is glued in. Mine don't even have brakes on that thing. You know, all the safeties have been removed. I'm not a big person on safety. One thing I do say is important is you definitely need safety glasses, because you won't be able to see what safeties you're trying to bypass if you don't take care of that one. You know, a lot of stuff, you know, common sense will make you safe, but common sense is wearing safety glasses, so never neglect that, unless you want a piece of wire stabbing you through your pupil. So, you know, I'm a little skeptical on whether I should even be using the spool gear or not. Keyways look like they're going to be a little damaged, and everything else is a little damaged. But I don't want to pop open that emergency 3-speed that I have. That's the emergency 3-speed in there, the one I promised I'd do nothing to because it was a cheap transmission and it was a backup transmission to keep me going until I got something better going. Ooh, I wish Ripka didn't have my bull gear right now. Alright, it's been hit with the angle grinder and I got what I could. So this thing's been brake cleaner cleaned, water washed, angle grinder cleaned, then wiped with a dry rag. So I'm going to use a Rust-Oleum metal primer, and then I'm going to use brake caliper paint. I'm using their rusty metal primer to hope that it'll compensate for the dirt factor. That's drying at the moment. We'll be using this later. And I guess I did hit heavy in areas, but there's a lot of angles and stuff, so some stuff got heavier spots than others. Areas at lots of corners are still wet because of that. But yeah, I put 3 screws in this thing so it stayed on the milk crate, because the wire wheel on the angle grinder will kick things all over the place when it catches on a corner or something. And so when I'm doing the other half, I'll just send screws through the holes and just let them drop down, and I'll lock it to the milk crate. I got plenty of milk crates to spare. I mean, I got like 10 more inside, so. So yeah, this tire ended up having a leak right here. So I went all through the inside of the rim of JB Weld, and I couldn't get it to prevent, air would just find a hole through the JB Weld. I was hoping it would blow it out, but it wouldn't work. So I had to go around here, but I messed up the bead of the tire sticking my hand in there at JB Weld, so I was going to try popping the tire off, but when I let it sit overnight, it got too hard and the tire was stuck on to the point where I couldn't get it off in places. So instead of grinding it all off, I decided to just put a bunch of JB Weld and JB Weld the whole side of the tire on. Hey man, it says it's like 1200 psi or something high like that, so it should be able to take this, right? We're going to find out. I just spent a good 20 minutes on the top. I don't care to spend any more time on that. The top's not going to really be hitting stuff, and you're not going to really see it, so yeah, I'm going to get it looking like that guy. Alright, so it almost works. When I filleted the tire up, I had some leaks that formed somewhere along the edge here. It doesn't seem like it's leaking now. There also is another leak on this side where apparently I must have jabbed a hole through it. So I probably at some point am going to buy a new tire and a new rim, but I don't got the money for that right now. And I really don't got the money to do what I'm going to do now. I mean, I do, but I shouldn't spend it, but I'm going to. I'm going to go out and get some more RTV, and I'm going to get some slime and see if I can use that thing with slime. If it proves reliable, I might not replace that tire till it becomes a problem. And this guy will be a spare that I will have to hurry up and make a back rack for so I can mount that spare, because this guy is intended to be the spare. Figured I'd let you see the assembly before I put my locking collar on it and put these friction causing gaskets on it and stuff. Oh, wait, the locking collar splits in half, ain't a big deal, as long as I don't need to put a washer on it. But yeah, this is the setup, and this is how freely it moves. This is basically the finished product here. So there's a little bit of play here, and thanks to Ripka putting a pin through the key stock and the bull gear, or I mean the hub, I don't have to worry about the key stock sliding at all. That's a done deal. And something else is, so this thing's in here, and it's got, I got it so it won't move back and forth, and it's not necessary, especially since my key stock can't slide. But when I have this thing put together, I'm not doing it until after I have it put together, so it's easier to assemble. Which, these things add a lot of friction, by the way. This thing could spin freely before I put the little rubber things on. So yeah, I'm going to put these washers on each end, and then I'm going to put a locking collar on each end, just to make sure this thing further can't slide. This could make my rear end a lot wider, and I made wheel spacers out of conduit. And I actually had it where like this much axle shaft was sticking out in each end, so I can go wider or narrower whenever I feel like. In fact, if I got axle shaft that's like half a foot longer, I could have made it a super easy option for dualies. But I didn't want dualies on this, so I didn't do that. So to get these bearings on and everything else, really, I use these two things are the same size, so they got stuck together to all the rust and stuff. So I used this Craftsman slide hammer here, and I took a washer on whatever I was trying to protect, and I go. And I'd kind of feel around for the spot that made it move the fastest, and I tried not to hit the same spot too many times in the bearings, so I didn't want to mangle the bearings. Before I put this thing together, I'm going to put some of my Lucas oil all through the shaft area here. And even way before that, I'm going to put some of my gasket maker in between here and here, even though the JB weld should be enough. Might as well add a little more protection. And I'm also going to put Lucas oil all through both sides of the shaft. And I'm going to just coat the whole shaft in Lucas oil. And when I have the thing on it and I have this thing all cleaned and sealed off, I'm actually going to use Lucas oil to fill the transmission. I'm going to put a little bit of motor coat in it too. The reason why I'm going for Lucas oil is because this stuff is really thick, but when it gets hot it thins out. And these things actually do get warm when you drive them like I do. So it'll actually thin out where the heat's at, but then over here it'll be thicker and stiffer and less likely to find a leak to go through. So I think it'll work, and well, you know what motor coat does, so. Alright, now I just gotta wait for that stuff to, I gotta wait an hour for that stuff to harden a bit. Then I can torque all these bolts down to whatever I feel like, because I don't have a torque wrench. And I don't even know if I could find the numbers I need anyways. Then I'm going to wait a few more hours and then start working on it. It says 24, but I never listen to that because I'm impatient. This is the final product. I'm going to flip Dinky upside down, and I'm even going to look at the brakes. If I think I can pull off doing brakes before it gets dark, I'm going to do brakes. In the process of making a leakage that I hope is going to work with all that bend. That guy worked, but that guy's made of actually thicker metal. At least I think it is. And it's a lot shorter, and the bend isn't as harsh. Right in here is going to be the buckle point, or here. But pretty close to testing. Looking at how it's working, if I weld a brace from here to here, and again from here to here, I think this thing will work. I need to like tie some wire from here to here to make sure I got clearance for the belt. But yeah, you can see when I move it, it wants to work, but it's not getting the right angle of leverage it needs. I've decided what I'm going to do for that. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow. So I'm going to flip this thing, I'm going to hook that in and just leave it how it is where it doesn't really work. And tomorrow I'm going to flip this over and take care of that. I'm going to go to Tractor Supply, and I'm going to grab a handful of their biggest grade 2 bolts, because those things work on my welder super damn good. Super good. My welder will get those bolts going red hot like it's nothing. And my welder is terrible. So I could make a really strong connection using those bolts, and if I get a couple that are like this long and put them end to end, I should be able to make those bridges I need and make braces along this whole thing that'll actually stick and hold really well. So I'm going to clip this thing on up there, and I guess that'll be a part of this, and eventually I'll make this work. As far as I'm concerned, working on lawn tractors should be considered a form of exercise. I'm sure there's a visible amount of sweat in my damn face. So I forgot that I could jack this thing up to get the tires, and I was trying to push this thing up to get the tires on, and the whole fucking thing just flipped over, and the hood went with it. It got bent too, and I lost some gas. Because I forgot how to jack, I was still rushing to get the tires on. Yeah, that hood took a beating. I'm not going to run it for a while. I have work to do on the hood. So I'm disconnecting the headlights and removing the hood entirely for a while. I guess I kind of forgot to keep you guys informed on the continuous progresses I'm doing on here. Now I'm worrying about exhaust system because everything laying around. And I just got that welded down, and yeah, the expansion, and I've played around with a bunch of different stuff, and I'm trying to go for the best sound. And I've done a little test run with leaks and stuff, and it sounded amazing. I mean, there's a point where I had to hold one of the pipes on, but yeah, I take these fittings and then I grind it down, and they look really cool when you do that because the metal heats up and changes colors. But yeah, it's like that, so I can shove it really tightly in that conduit, and then I can weld it in there good. Looks a lot different without that mesh on it, but let's see how it does. Wish I didn't have that leaky head gasket. It's killing the sound. I need to get some exhaust tips for it, and I need to tie the pipes down so they can't move. I think a lot of that shaking is the uneven fire of the leaky head gasket. Yeah, it's firing a lot harder in the cylinder, I can hear it. But it is firing in that one.